Welcome to Mic Check Waifu Waifu.
Mic check, waifu. King Telliano, is that you?
Happy New Year, is that you?
It is episode 235 of Mic Check Waifu. The new year of Mic Check Waifu. As always, is brought to you by Patreon. Make sure you go to patreon.com/Mic Check Waifu to get early access to the video version of this podcast, to get access to our conversational exclusive podcast, The After Story, to get access to bonus content like Mic Check mangas and take talks and other video content that we are going to throw up on Patreon. Shout out to the Patreon producers. You know, when we get a new Patreon producers, we give them a special shout out, which we do. This month, we have a new Patreon producer. Shout out to All For One Matt. All For One Matt on Twitter. They've been rocking with us for a very, very, very long time. Decided to produce this episode and hopefully many other episodes. So shout out to you, All For One Matt. We appreciate you. Welcome to the producer fam.
Much love.
We literally can't do this without y'all. Thank y'all so much. And now shout out to the rest of the producers. Christian, our archivist, Dre, the GOAT, G, Rob from Dad Needs to Talk podcast, Jay Lee Trey from Show Go High, Kent the Pro from Chaotic Culture, Explicitly, Monique Williams, Nachi, Simi Sensei. He really wanted us to watch Air Gear again. Frozen, Saphir, and T Money Fingers. What up, T Money Fingers? Thank you so much for producing this and many other episodes of the podcast. We appreciate y'all. We couldn't do it without y'all. Like I said, again, shout out to All For One Matt for producing this episode and probably many more. So thank you so much for supporting us. Couldn't do it without y'all. So sorry about last week. We said we was going to post a after story on Twitter. Unfortunately, an internet issue popped up on our side, so we couldn't, sadly.
I'm a dad. It happens. It literally is the wildest thing.
But here we are, and next week, After Story, we'll be back with a very big episode. Got a lot to discuss. So thank you so much for supporting us. Remember, that's a conversational podcast where we talk about whatever we want on the After Story. Movies, TV shows, life, anything and everything. So make sure you guys check that out. And if you are a supporter of us on our Patreon, make sure you download the Spotify app and then connect your Patreon to your Spotify, because then all of a sudden the After Story podcast will pop up on your feed automatically. So as soon as you connect your Patreon to your Spotify, you have all access to all the backlog of After Stories, which is I think about 75 of them. And again, most of them are timeless. We don't really talk about timely news, and some of them we do, some of them we don't, but it's you can learn a lot about us as individual people because we don't share that on the podcast. But this is Mic Check Waifu. The anime podcast is brought to you every Tuesday at 9:30 a.m. CT, where we bring you seasonal anime discussion. We try to get new shows that nobody is watching or shows that we think people will like of our audience and share it with you. And we will be doing that this show because this is the start of a new season. This is the winter season. Yeah. What was that they said? I think I'm gonna title this episode, "They Were Wrong About the Winter Anime Season." Before we get into that, don't tell, how you feeling, brother?
I'm good, bro. It's a new year. Can't say new year, new me. Ain't really my vibe. But new year and forward progression. That's the goal. I'm hyped, man. I'm hyped. I'm really happy to be doing this right now.
Thanks.
Polow know, my wife know that this podcast, this little moment here is a little bit of like therapy for me, even though like we just talk about anime and stuff. It's a whole vibe. So I love doing this. So I'm excited to be back, bro. I have missed this, and coming into the new year, I'm ready.
Bro, 1 week felt like we were gone for 1 month. It always feel like, because we don't we don't miss weeks. Like normally we don't. I think we missed a total, like we can count on one hand, like maybe 4 or 5. Like that's how many total shows we missed since doing this in 2019. Like
right.
That's something we take pride in being like consistent. Oh yeah, I guess the one thing I should have talked about at the start of the show is that at the end of this month, Mic Check Live is back. It'll be Mic Check Live 5, which is Reintroduction 5. Is it Mic Check Live? Yeah, it's Mic Check Live 5, Reintroduction 5. So found out, we are going to be refreshing our top 10 anime lists.
Great.
We're going to fix them up on our anime list. We'll show you how to do that too when we get there. That's going to be a lot of fun. I am looking forward to that. We fixing our top 10 list and
I was just thinking about my top 3 too.
Dog, it's gonna be a shakeup on this. We haven't done this in a very long time. So, and then people can learn about this show and how it's structured and what we do and find out all of that live. Which is, if I had to look at the calendar, we do it the last Sunday of every month, which is January 28th. So January 28th, Mic Check Live 5, Reintroduction 5. We doing it. So what a brilliant way. All right. Yeah. Now, how I'm feeling is I'm feeling pretty good, man. It's like I said, it's been so long. Again, it's only been a week we missed, but it feels like so long. So much has happened. Yeah. Like as far as anime is concerned. And I'm looking forward to talking about this winter. I'll tell you that much because it's crazy. I got a lot to say. But yeah, I'm pretty good. I don't know how the fuck we gonna do this, but episode of the week.
Oh yeah, so I know my episode of the week, and I know this is gonna be ridiculous. Delicious and Dungeon. There was a lot of really good episodes this week. Yeah, that was a great episode.
And we're gonna go into details on them, of course, in detail later. We're gonna spoil all episode 1s of these new shows so you can decide on if you wanted to watch them or not. So be ready for that. It's like I said, it's spoilers for episode 1s. It's not really spoilers of the entirety of the show, so you don't have to really worry about much. This is just episode 1 so that you can determine if I'm gonna add it to my list or not. So stick to that. For me, it's probably one of the hardest episodes of the week, probably ever. To be honest, it's been a minute since it's been like this. Like sometimes I have trouble between two, like Frieren and Apothecary Diaries. Like it's hard to choose between those two. But obviously I'm not going to choose Apothecary Diaries or Frieren because we're going to do strictly new winter stuff. It's Banished from the Heroes Party, or you know what? No, you know what? I'm gonna go with Tales of Red Rings as my episode of the week.
Hey.
And there's a specific reason. I mean, obviously it's Polow shit, but we're gonna talk about that a little bit later. Yeah, shit, man. So where do we start? All right, so let's start off with you finishing some shows from last season, because I looked at your annual list on the feed. You finished quite a bit of shows, so let's just wrap that up really quick if we can. What did you think about 100 Girlfriends? Because that's all I really care about.
I mean, the main character is a great guy. I absolutely love him. The when we get to that wrap up where like the mom is being when we get to that wrap up, it's like, come on, bro, I need this in my life. I need you to be this way.
Listen,
I'm sorry. I'm trying to. I wasn't trying to. But yeah, bro, man, come on, man. I was like, I really need this kind of like continued cohesion between the characters. They collaborate and blend so well together. They're so willing to like work. It's not like just coexisting. You know what I mean? They're honestly devoted to like actually making sure everyone gets a fair experience in this like. And that's in this whole relationship, and that's what makes it so beautiful. It's so like
interesting, right? Because it's such a weird satire show. Like it's purely satire, purely comedy, but they have these moments of sincerity, sincerity that is so strangely heartwarming. Like it's very, very strange because it has the serious moments, but yet it's still full of like that satire. Like this is ridiculous. Like this is some absolute nonsense that's happening, but you find it endearing in some ways, right? Like it's The characters are very endearing.
And I will say there was a specific episode in the beginning, like closer to the middle. I was like, okay, I'm not watching this no more. And it actually just it was just that one episode, I think. And then after that, everything was like, yeah, this is actually, it's very wholesome in a wild kind of way, because nothing about this is about manipulation, and that's what makes it beautiful.
Yeah, I think you got to catch the formula. Once you catch the formula of the show and understand where it is, because I know exactly what episode you're talking about, because that episode was the same for everybody else too. Everybody else felt the same way about the show. Like, I don't think I want to watch this no more. And I get it, because I think I remember exactly which episode that was. Yeah. And like, it's a little out. That's a little much. Not much in every, other stuff. It's just it didn't fit really.
Yeah, with the flow of the show from the beginning, I was like, that don't feel right.
It didn't. I totally didn't. And then everything else, it had a formula where it was, a situation, and it'll be some sincerity and some real, like, actual genuine heartwarming stuff with these characters. That, again, this outrageous situation, to have something like that, it's very, I don't know, it's endearing in a weird way.
Yeah.
What about what you finish up there?
KamiErabi.God Awful.
This is the last week.
Hear me out. This is the last time we talk about it. It's gonna be a season 2, but I'm definitely not watching season 2, bro.
It's gonna be a season 2 of that shit.
Oh yeah, the way that ended, first of all, is completely ass-tastic. It devolves into this story about forgetting and remembering, and it, oddly enough, is better than Platinum End, but still worse. It's such a wild blend of not good and then worse. But yeah, don't watch it. I watched it out of pure enjoyment and masochism.
And then the Zom 100, I didn't finish Zom 100 because I'm waiting for that to be dubbed and done. So forgive me, but I'm sure
I think you will enjoy it, bro.
Of course. I think I would too, to be honest. Before we get into the new shit too, there is a conversation that I had with one of the Patreon producers, also one of our colleagues in the podcasting space, who does awesome work, and we talk about him all the time. That's Rob from Dad Needs to Talk.
Yeah, I
had to, because I'm springing this on Taylor too, by the way, listeners. So be ready for this. He had no idea. I had to ask him because this kind of ties into one of the new shows, and I kind of want to go straight into one of the new shows, and that being Solo Leveling. Okay. Solo Leveling first episode dropped, and the internet was, and I got on the internet for the first time today, which is Sunday today. We're recording this after being off of it for the week we were gone. And I saw a bunch of conversation, and including in our Discord, miccheckwaifuwaifu.com miccheckwaifuwaifu.com, and then just join the Discord. It's on their front page, but TCB talked about it. He's a great contributor of our community. He's a good dude. He said it wasn't that great animation wise. It's just A1 doing A1, which I vehemently disagree with, and I'm gonna get into that a little bit later. But it wasn't just him. It was a bunch of people, like, all this talk about solo leveling, and it's okay. I'm like, and for me, this would have been my episode of the week if I didn't like Tales of Wedding Rings, and if I didn't want as many people as possible to watch that. But Solo Leveling is gonna get its play, so that's why I didn't make it my episode. This episode for me was 100% perfect. Now this comes from me, who's someone, and you, are people who read the entire thing of Solo Leveling and understand what's coming. So what that dialed up for me personally, though, is it dialed up a thought. The thought is biases. Do I develop a bias because I can't look at it as subjectively as everybody else, or objectively, I should say, as everybody else, because I know what this show is? Because for me, watching that first episode, the pacing of Solo Leveling episode 1 was absolutely perfect. Coming from what we read, it felt like it was a lot longer to get to the point where we're about to get to in episode 2. Mm-hmm. From when we read it. So the pacing that is going is flowing real nice. The way it's building the world, the way it's building characters, the sound design, and again, A1 Pictures does a fucking amazing job with animation. I don't know what what TCB was looking at, but it was gorgeous. It was absolutely gorgeous in every sense. And I mean, to be fair, this might be the season's theme where everything is looking pretty except for like maybe one show. Everything looks great as far as animation goes or art design or whatever. But I'm like, man, is it because I read it and I enjoyed it so much that I'm like biased towards it? And then I thought the first person I thought about was Dad Needs to Talk, right? The reason why I thought about Dad Needs to Talk is because he's constantly the one saying, I disagree. I love Mike Check, but I vehemently disagree with him on Shangri-La. I think Shangri-La is incredible. But I'm like, well, Dad Needs to Talk reads a lot of manga. Okay. He's read Shangri-La. We are watching it. And watching it is a fucking slug snood fest. Like every episode is 13 minutes of pure nonsense that it doesn't move this, or it moves the story forward in a very snail's pace because it feels like they're just trying to fill these 24 episodes. Yeah. But then I thought about it. I'm like, wait, it's the same thing for him. He's able to just turn the page when you read the manga. So his pacing is as fast as he can read. So when shit happens, it's happening fast, 3 times faster for him because it's getting right into the next shit because he's just turning the page and turning the page and turning the page. And that's how it was in Solo Leveling, even though Solo Leveling felt a lot slower to get to the point where we are getting to already in the anime. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So like, I think it's honestly just a bias of me knowing what's coming next, because then I can't like determine on if a show that's not doing like that was hyped up and only got like, a few minutes of quote unquote action and people just thinking it's all right. Like the internet really thought it was just okay. And I'm like, what?
So I'm a disagree.
Okay. What exactly?
I'm not disagreeing like out of devil's advocacy. I'm literally disagreeing with that. And it's not that like, because I don't think you're wrong. I thought the first episode was phenomenal.
Perfect.
And I do think that the bias that we have is that we know in a sense, but what that gives us is like, it also makes it a little bit more difficult to be biased, because had they messed that pacing up, we would have been a little bit more strict on it. It's the same with things that we watched and we hate. Like I've watched or read things and been like, no, I hate this because of the way they paced it. They should have done better. And that's kind of why I have to disagree here. What really were they supposed to do in the animation for this beginning? How overboard were they supposed to go for this? Yeah, this is literally a soft launch into the beginning, letting you unassumingly see what's happening in the show, just like how the beginning of the manhwa starts, and then chaos ensues.
And it's beautiful. It's just as beautiful. So, and that's just TCB. TCB said he know he's in the minority. He just didn't think it looked good. His part was like it. For him, it was just okay. It was just average A1 picture stuff, which again I disagree with, because average A1 is not that. Average A1 is different. But what A1 does well is the action scenes, which we didn't get a lot of in this particular episode, because it was literally the world build. I think for everybody else, it was just like they were expecting a lot more for this episode 1. And what they were talking about in our Discord, they were saying like it should have been like the 40 minutes, or if it was 40 minutes, then it would have captured everybody and blah, which I can agree. I mean, if something I know like Solo Leveling was 40 minutes, it would absolutely capture, but it's 12 episodes. Yeah. So like, I don't think it was necessary. I thought it was absolutely flawless with the way they paced it out and to get us to the next episode without it being a terrible cliffhanger. Yeah. To flow brilliantly.
And I'm trying to think, if it was a 40-minute episode, I feel like it would have left us on. It would have, yes, definitely we would have progressed more with the story, obviously, right?
It would have been massive progression.
But I think they would have left us on a more sour note, because now we're left in a point where it's like, oh, what's that? We don't know yet. It is still a cliffhanger, but it would have been like, man, we just got all of that, and then where do we stop? We just stop where? Right. And I think that it was important that they didn't do like a 40-minute episode of this. And normally, we're advocates for that 40-minute episode. It was important for them not to do that in this situation or instance, because had they done it, it would have paced everything else poorly after this.
Sure, yeah. And again, I think I do. Coming to that realization though did help me understand like it's a bias though. Like manga readers have biases towards shows that are animated. Like if you read a manga that you fall in love with, that you absolutely head over heels about, and then you watch the show, for instance, you read My Hero, and maybe you don't feel the same way I did when it came to like season, was it 4 and 5, being absolute garbage, because you know what was coming, and what was coming was season 6, which was fucking spectacular. But like, you didn't think it was as bad as I did, right? And it's because of your bias towards you reading the manga, knowing what's coming next. And when you read it, it probably flowed better because you turned the page at your pace. Right.
I also hated the delivery of the main villain. To me, Overhaul was not half as impressive in the anime as he was in the manga. It didn't have an ominous feeling. All of that was literally just my imagination. So it's like,
right. Exactly.
You know, I feel like that delivery was also bad. So yeah, I didn't feel as negatively about it as you did, but also was not as impressed as I was when reading it myself.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right, right. So
that's that double-edged sword I was trying to talk about, is that like it can be very bad on both sides depending on, you know.
And to be fair, that's exactly what Dad Needs to Talk was saying. He said it could be a double-edged sword. So that's why he just, to kind of like TLDR what he said, this is not exactly what he said, but it's like, it's a double-edged sword. When you have to take yourself out of the conversation within the community or the zeitgeist of the anime community, and like understanding like it's not going to be the same for people who are just watching anime versus people who read the manga. Because again, I think Shangri-La is the perfect example of this, because it seems like when I thought about that, when I took a step backwards, when I like went into the astral plane and was looking from the top down view, like, why is it that I really hate this show and Dad Needs to Talk loves it so much? Because obviously he's somebody we respect, you know, a lot, and his taste and everything. So I'm like, maybe it's just because of the way I feel about Solo Leveling being literally the first episode was perfect for me, like a 10 out of 10 episode. And it's because I know what's next. And I'm like, damn, he knows, he changes, he flips the pages as he's going. He's continuing on from let's say he sat down and read 10 chapters. It's like way more content than the one episode we get covering maybe 2 chapters.
Exactly.
So I had to step back and like understand it's a different perspective. Because it ate at me that it was so disliked. And I think it's because of my bias. So I learned something though. I definitely learned something. Even 4 years doing this podcast, I learned that, you know, something about myself, to be honest.
Right. But I mean, also, let's be fair. There have been things that you've watched that you've hated or read that you hated watching. You know what I mean? Yep. Because you read it, you wish you hadn't done.
Oh no, that being specifically to like, Tokyo Revengers is the perfect one. Like, I wish I didn't read that and just watched it, because reading it, I'm like, I don't really want to watch this shit. And also, Tokyo Revengers is also just okay. Like, it's just
mad middling.
So, you know, I digress. Moving on though. Thank you for indulging in that conversation.
Of course, brother.
But moving on, my sleeper isn't out yet. It's out, and literally by the time y'all hearing this, it's out. Which is Hokkaido Girls. Girls are super cute or super adorable or some shit like that. It's not out. Tales came out though.
Yeah.
Now, how do you feel about your sleeper, which was not Tales of Wedding Rings? No, which is not Healer. People thought your sleeper was the Healer one.
No. Mine was the
wrong way to use Healer
adventure.
Say it again. Sorry.
Unwanted Undead Adventure.
Okay.
I liked it. It was very interesting. I feel like there was a lot of setup for this beginning, and of the sleepers I've chose, quality wise, at least in terms of how it looks, I feel like it's actually one of the higher quality looking ones, because I ain't never.
Yeah, you never pick.
I never picked a sleeper that looked like this.
It looks. That's what I was saying. Like, this season is the season of beautiful looking art styles and animation, man.
Yeah, I ain't never picked a sleeper that looked like this, but I'm gonna be real. So while I did enjoy the first episode, because because I watched this. I'm not gonna say I watched this last out of everything, but I already watched some stuff, and then I watched this, and I said, let me not let these things fool me, right? Because I was literally thinking, don't judge a book by its cover, even if it's really good. Mm-hmm. I'm just like, I feel like this beginning I feel like the beginning of a lot of these episodes this week were so good. I'm just like, there's no way that all of these are going to be this good the entire time through.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really enjoyed that opening episode. How do you feel about it, Polow?
I thought it was really good too, man. And it's not going to get any love this season, obviously. Unfortunately, I should say, not more so obviously, but something about this fucking art style I absolutely love. I love the bigger character design, and like everybody feels adult. This is a fantasy. This isn't an isekai. This is a fantasy show with rules and shit that is very interesting. A main character that's super interesting, where he is literally just like a rank D adventurer going into this labyrinth, and he comes across this cave where he can find special loot, and he gets into that cave and he meets one of like the strongest monster in this entire world. It's a fucking dragon.
Oh yeah.
And next thing you know, he wakes up dead, basically.
Yeah, he just destroyed, smashed to bits.
But I'm telling, like, when it comes to the main character, he's very likable. I love the way they built him at the very beginning. It starts off with him being a skeleton, or with him facing the dragon and then dying, and then it goes into his story. And his story is, I know so much more about him than I do about the main character in Shangri-La. It's crazy.
It's crazy. That fast though.
That fast. And some of the people he's around, it seem important to him, and I really do enjoy like what they're doing with the character building itself in this show. I think the character building is amazing.
They even gave us details of such as like he has divinity, he controls mana and magic, and it's like for all of these things that he has, normally people don't have them, but he can't make it past rank D. You know what I mean? He has skills that not everyone has, and he's not strong enough. He has nothing that's actually powerful or special.
Right.
And then we get to this point, and it was really interesting to see that even in the first episode, he's like, oh, I'm already getting stronger than I was when I was alive or when I was human.
Yeah, I mean, that's because the rules of this world, only people that can gain power is monsters. You can train as much as you want as an adventurer. You only get it by literally training hard. But monsters train by killing other monsters, and they get the experience of the other monsters, like in video game form, which is a dope concept. In this particular episode, he learns that, okay, he reminisces on his past and what he learned from this monster research lady who's beautiful, who's a waifu, basically tell him like, hey, monsters can evolve. So he takes that knowledge that he got and said, since I'm a skeleton now and weak, I'm going to fight as many monsters as I can to evolve. And he evolved into a ghoul by the end of this episode. And it's fire. It's such a fire. Like, it's, even though we spoiled the whole episode, the journey to get to where he is. Shout out to O. O was watching a bunch of shows. And he coined the hashtag. I don't know if he's coined it, but I'm gonna just give it to him because who cares if anybody else said it? But O said it's hashtag quality mid to a certain amount of shows, and we're gonna get to them later. But this one is the definition of quality middling so far, but I don't think it's going to stay there. I think it's going to become a show that's actually going to be good. This
and like you said, it's not gonna get no love.
Not gonna get no love whatsoever.
Not until it gets hyped up. Like somebody's gonna have to watch it, hype it up, and be like, man, hey,
it's actually pretty decent.
That was it right there.
And to be fair, we could be entirely wrong. It's happened before. And we will tell you if we're wrong, even if we like something, or if it's one of our sleepers. Like, it's one thing we ain't gonna do is lie to you. So yeah, like very, very, very interesting show, man. Good sleeper pick so far, Tel. Which again, even last season, it was bad, but I enjoyed it. So
yeah, it was a special kind of bad though.
It was a special kind of bad. Going into a returning show, so I can't really spoil episode 1 of this. And that's Banished from the Hero's Party. I'm fucking so glad this show is back. What a great show! Oh yeah, what a great! I don't have much to say about it. Yeah, but the way they dropped us back in, it was like we never left. It was a great recap. Go ahead.
Yeah, and they reaffirmed the relationships of everyone in the show. Mm-hmm. So to me, it was like I love the brother sister dynamic, the lover dynamic, the estranged lover kind of dynamic. I love the relationships in this show. So yeah, that alone was, I'm just like, yeah, bro, this is back. I'm excited.
Wonderful. It's wonderful to have Banished from a Heroes Party back. It was one we was excited for. We talked about that last episode 2 weeks ago. So I'm not going to go into it because again, it's a season 2. But going back into the new stuff, let's talk about my sleeper this week, which was Tales of Wedding Rings. Mm-hmm. Another show that looks great with the character design and art style. And I didn't realize it was an ecchi kind of show. But it's a fantasy romance ecchi, uncensored on Crunchyroll. But it's again, very interesting concept, man.
Bro, this one specifically. So I didn't know what it was going to be exactly like. You know what I mean?
No idea.
The delivery could have thrown this all off, but they really give us this heartfelt beginning. At least I felt it was heartfelt. The beginning was very heartfelt, even though I don't know the characters yet. And then they drop us into, the characters have known each other for years, and they kind of establish that it makes it feel like, yeah, the way they interacted with each other in the very beginning of them talking, our first time seeing them talk as semi-adult teenagers or whatever, they are very like, it seems like a relationship that has been, they feel like a relationship that's been around for a long time. Yeah. They established that extremely well, in my opinion. And then they jump to the meat and potatoes, what the show's kind of be about. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because it starts off with them as children, and he's in the forest just, kind of clowning around, and he sees this fucking beam of light coming from the sky randomly and decides to go investigate. And he sees this girl in this pink Princess Peach dress come out, and she tells him, hey, you can't tell anybody about this. And then, like Tel said, they kind of do a time skip where they determine that, she stayed here for about 10 years and they end up growing up together. She moved next door. She goes to the same school and they grow up together. And then we get a bomb that she's going to have to move. And moving for her means getting taken back to her own world.
Right.
Which then leads to him becoming isekai because of reasons that I think you should watch the show to find out by. And it's a very interesting concept because it's all about these rings. In a way that I'm like, I like it's dope, man. It's very dope and different kind of isekai that I'm enjoying, man. It's so far, it could drop the ball, yes, but I don't think it will.
To me, it gives me a more adult version of 100 Girlfriends in a sense. I'm only saying because I feel like he's not going to be a
terrible main character,
a skeezer. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And even the other prince, he didn't seem like a douche either. And I'm just like,
I love that.
I'll take it, bro. We on the roll here.
That's what it is. It's characters who aren't assholes and full of debauchery and horniness, if you will. It's just good characters, great writing, man, and beautiful art. I love it, man. Tales of Wedding Rings is a great show. Make sure y'all check it out. And then moving on to one that's it's kind of in the same vein, to be honest. The Wrong Way to Use Healing Magic. Another pretty show.
Yeah.
Seems to have another great main character. It seems to be a trend here where main characters aren't like complete, just irritating messes. And again, what's good about this one is the same thing that's good about Tales of the Wedding Rings is the supporting cast seems to be dope too.
Yeah.
Like I thought the council members were going to be douches, but they care, or the dude, he specifically care about Picasso just as much as the girl do. It's fucking cool, man. I love this kind of dynamic.
And I love that, like, they didn't give it the regular stereotypes where, light and dark magic are super rare and super powerful, important and whatnot. it's a spoiler alert. It's the healing magic that's super rare and important. Well, I'm saying this in the name.
Oh, yeah, exactly true.
But it's like the healing magic is super rare and super important in this series. And it's like that all the healers we see, they don't resemble your typical healer. And that's what makes it so kind of cool. You know what I mean? It's extremely like atypical in that regard. So what is this even going to turn out to be when it comes to the wrong way to use healing magic? Like, how are we doing this here? Exactly.
I can't wait to see what this develop into, because again, we get a training arc in episode 2. It starts with the training. So any isekai that has training this way, I think, is much more interesting and intriguing than any others. And again, this is another show. Shout out to the Three Weebs podcast, because they tweeted, "We know y'all hate isekais, y'all try to do y'all best to shit on them, and the internet does. We don't. It's kind of like our thing. We love isekais, and this one is seemingly to come out special so far. Like, I really do like it. I really, really do like it. And then the two main characters, or the three main characters, seem to be good, great even. All right, what you got, Tel? Anywhere you want to go? You want to go to your sleeper?
Well, I mean, we already talked about my sleeper.
I know we didn't talk about it. Your sleeper.
My sleeper?
No, sorry. Episode of the week. My fault. I'm drunk.
Oh, yeah. Delicious in Dungeon.
Yeah. Episode of the week.
So hear me out, bro. First of all,
Netflix joint.
So hear me out. Netflix, they fumble sometimes, man. They be fumbling some bags, fumbling some balls.
Balls.
I watched this first episode with my wife. My wife was like, "All right, when we 2, they don't call to the 11th." Yep. She's like, Thursday. "What? You made me watch that?" But hear me out, bro. Hear me out. It was the funniest thing I've watched this week for sure. I audibly laughed watching this, and that's what made this like so different for me. I rarely have anime I actually laugh at. Rarely. That I actually think that will audibly make me laugh. And the way it looks, the way things were described, the way the action was taken, it gave me campfire cooking. Mm-hmm. But like they took the quality up. Yeah. They took the quality up. The characters all have their own places and are somewhat enjoyable. The blonde wizard girl. I'm just like, bro, the way that this show has composed itself, even though it's a cooking show, has staged it as this comedy, but it's still like somewhat serious in its delivery in terms of how this is going. So yeah, that's why it was episode of the week, because it felt like quality visually, quality even character dynamics, like the differentials between the characters was quality. Yep. Everything about it was just visual quality.
And it's day and day dub too. So, and the dub is fire.
It was the dub. That's what I watched. I watched the dub. I didn't even check the sub yet. The dub was, man.
It was clean. It was a very clean dub. And I cannot wait to see where this goes. This seems like it's going to be so much fun in a way that is different than the Undead one, or even Tales of the Wedding Rings. Like, it's a hilarious kind of like sweet kind of show. What I love is that
started dark.
It's very much started dark, but that's where I was going. It started dark, but it seems like the rules are already established to where people aren't really as worried about death. Yeah. And I kind of like that. I kind of liked how they didn't have to explain the rules or over-explain the rules of the world like they do in some anime. Where they just start having conversations about stuff they already should know about, but they're going in grave detail about these rules that is already established to us, so that we know loud and clear. They just kind of let it free flow, come in to like the scenarios that happens. His sister got ate by a dragon in the first 2 minutes of the show. But they're like not too estranged about it. And it's very interesting. 2 of the party members quit. They're like, look, this shit ain't working out. We dipping. But it's like, I like it, man. I like it where it's going.
Yeah, they established financials, commerce. They established, the death rules. Not even like fully developed them yet, but it's just the fact they spoke about it is enough to give you a hint in your head that like it might not be that prominent. Right. To me, it gave me D&D vibes off the bat. It was like, okay, D&D, everybody ain't always dead. There's resurrection, there's true resurrection, different stuff like that. So it was like, hey, we know that something could change, you know what I mean? So it felt like they even gave us a reasoning as to why we're even cooking in the dungeons, you know what I mean? They didn't have the money to acquire other food.
Yep. And I love how, again, I love how it started, how we went to the narration of how everything's going. It was brilliant. It was a brilliant first episode for a new show. I think this is going to be one that definitely becomes super popular. So, watch it, y'all, if y'all haven't. The thing is this might be the renaissance of like fantasy anime. And I'm not saying like it's because of Frieren, because all this shit was obviously in development prior, but fantasy anime kind of disappeared when the isekai took off, right? Isekai took off, kind of killed the fantasy genre of anime, and now fantasy is making a full scale fucking return with Frieren, with Ragnar Crimson, with even you can consider Apothecary Diaries a kind of a fantasy fiction type deal. Right. It's going into this next one I'm gonna talk about, which is the Strongest Tanks Labyrinth Raids. The Strongest Tanks Labyrinth Raids. Holy shit, that's a title. Mouthful. Did you not watch this one?
I didn't watch that one.
Holy shit. Okay. So
holy shit. The Strongest Tanks?
The Strongest Tanks Labyrinth Raids.
That's crazy.
Now this one is what O also qualified to be quality mid. I don't think it's mid at all. I think it's very interesting. It's about a tank who put all his stats into tanking. So he has 9,999 tanking, but he's tanking in his dungeon or in the labyrinth with his party. And as he's tanking, like they can see his numbers going down, and his numbers gets down pretty low, which is unusual. So the party leader, which is the hero of the party, decides to kick him out. And then something happens. I'm not going to say what happens, but it's a lot. It's a good show, and it's not. I don't know. It's not very. What I like about it is that it's very deep without over explaining again. Yeah, it does that extremely well too. It really do feel like it's building up something really special. I don't want to speak too soon because I tend to do that a lot, i.e. Kingdoms of Ruin or whatever the fuck. I do think this is a different beast though, in a good way, because it feels wholesome. He does all this basically for his little sister. His little sister is sick. And when he gets kicked out of the party, he makes his way towards his hometown. Stuff happens in between. I'm not going to say what, but it's a phenomenal show. Another great main character who doesn't get on your fucking nerves. And I find it to be phenomenal and very interesting. And again, another show which art style is very good. Very good. Very, very good fucking art style. Beautiful show.
Bro.
What?
Not only do I have to watch that, you made me remember I gotta go give Kingdoms of Ruin a negative score. That was garbage.
I saw you finished it, bro. I gotta finish it too, but I don't know.
You watch that and then you're gonna be like, oh, I hate this, especially in the last 2 episodes. You're gonna hate it.
Yeah.
I don't think I've watched a worse 2 episodes of anime since X-Arm.
That's crazy.
That was probably the worst 2 episodes of anime I think I've watched back to back. That was worse than KamiErabi.God Awful.
Holy moly.
That ending was garbage, man. I don't even know why they hobbled that together and thought people was gonna be like,
that's good.
Give me that season 2 that you're projecting. No. don't give us a season 2. Take it home.
Let me take a little quick break to go to Twitter. Shout out to T Money Fingers, one of the Patreon producers. He late getting us. He says, I know I'm late getting to your sleeper, but before I listen to the podcast, being said, if you could do season 2 of stuff, which you can't, he said he now knows that you can. He said my sleeper now is Hokkaido Girls, which is again a show that isn't out yet. It was out by the time you're hearing this, but it's not out for the time we're recording, unfortunately. So I'm looking forward to that. But I want to go to another sleeper, who I asked 2 weeks ago for him, or 3 weeks ago for him to give us our sleeper, because, is one of our Patreon producers, Jay Sawyer, aka Frozen. He says, my bad, wild weekend, and forgot to drop my picks. He says most anticipated was Solo Leveling and Kingdom season 5. Mm-hmm. He told us we should check out Kingdom, even though season 1 is all 3D. Maybe we'll find a time for that. If the season wasn't as stacked as it was, we probably could have did it this season, but it's fucking stacked. Crazy. He says, I'll continue to push the Kingdom agenda, one of the best stories out right now, which is big talk, Frozen, big talk. But he says his sleeper is The Witch and the Beast. That's another show that comes out
tomorrow.
3 days from now.
3 days. Okay. That's on my list. So I will be watching that one.
Yeah, same. So we're going to check that one out. He says, a revenge plot, a supernatural revenge plot. I'm sold. So yeah, we definitely going to check that out. Yeah, there's 4 more shows, including Tsukimichi Moonlit Fantasy season 2.
Yeah. I have to watch the first season of Dangers in My Heart so I can watch the second season.
You still haven't watched the first season of that fantastic? No, you did, didn't you?
I can't remember, bro.
You told me you did.
I'm pretty sure I did. I just didn't want to finish. I didn't want to start and be sure. I didn't even check to see if I actually watched it because I can't remember nothing about it. I know it's horrible, but
yeah, because it's a fucking great show. This episode, season 2, episode 1 was beautiful. It was damn near perfect. Like, again, very, very good slice of life. Remember, because I remember I was talking about it. I did
watch it. I did watch it.
Yeah, I'm like, I was talking about, I'm like, get past the first 3 because the first 3 are unbearable, to be honest. And then the rest of it it's smooth sailing from there. And this episode 1, very good episode 1 of season 2. Even emotional.
He's the one that wants to hurt people.
Yep. At the like first 3 episodes or something like that.
Yeah. Okay, I remember now. This is fire.
Yeah, and he completely switches, and it picks up even better than they left off. And it's emotional in the first episode. It's great. It's so good. A lot of good shit. Good shit for bringing that up, because that one I could have touched on quickly like I just did. Another one, which is an isekai, which seems interesting. I'm not going to say this is one of O's. It should be O's quality mids, and that's My Instant Death Ability is Overpowered.
Man.
This one seems like it's going to be quality mid, but the story, very intriguing. And then the character's ability, which is My Instant Death Ability is Overpowered. I am curious on how they're going to carry this for an entire 12 episode series, because his ability is that he can instant kill anybody.
I have no idea how they're going to do it.
What you think about episode 1?
So a lot of interesting aspects, especially with the fact that they gave us this like idea that some of the people in his class were in this world before, like they've been isekai before,
which I liked.
Very interesting, but it also shows that even though they're S rank, they still can be instant death.
Yep. True.
Which to me, it goes to show that like clearly there's some people stronger than them, but it's like I need to see like I would like to see how they develop this ability more. And I think that even the people who did not get chosen, they might still have abilities. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
they're dead.
But the girl that he's with, she was able to see far away, but without actually being able to see, without knowing that she has an ability. So I feel like she has an ability and not know it. I don't want to read too much into it yet, but I do feel like this is one of those things that was that's going to be a little bit more. It's either going to be extremely surprising or it's going to be a letdown, because it's that quality mid where it's like, man, this actually could be solid, and then it's like, oh no, that's actually pretty bad. But I hope it's like stays solid. You know what I mean?
I disagree. I think it's more so good on a good scale, on a good Libra scale, than bad. Like, and what I find intriguing about it the most is the fact that they didn't over explain.
Yeah.
Like, I love the fact that they figured out that we've already been here before, and this is what we did. And the 2 people who were essentially adventurers who were fire, i.e. good, were killed instantly. Twice, both of them. And then like the girl who gave the students their powers, the sage, and saying, hey, we're trying to determine the next sage, and she was in the bed laughing, and she didn't realize like the way she kind of undercutted the fact that the guy was like, was at the instant death ability, meaning that's already established. Like all this shit that was already established wasn't explained to us, which gives them the opportunity for them to explain it in a way that's different. Because again, a show about somebody whose power is instant death is going to be hard to carry. Like I think personally, but I'm very intrigued. Again, the art style at first, when you're looking at the cover art, it doesn't look as good as it looks in the show. In the show, it looks so much better than you do when you look at the cover art. The cover art, it looks like you're watching some 90s magical girl anime or some shit. Like it looks very weird, but it's not. It's again another good looking show. And I'm looking forward to it.
Carries on a lot of these shows this season too. A lot of them are actually way better looking than expected.
Yeah, a steady thing with this. Season. Speaking of magical girl, I'm going to get this out the way now. And again, I said this in Discord because they were talking about it as well. I'm not going to yuck nobody's yum. Okay, I'm not going to yuck nobody's yum. But there was a magical girl that they said had some etchiness to it. And I'm like, oh, and it's just an uncensored version on High Dive. I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'll check it out. And I regret checking it out. I said this in Discord, I would rather watch redo of Healer than ever watch the show again. The show's called Gushing Over Magical Girls. This is it made me very fucking uncomfortable. I think whoever wrote it and made it should go to jail. I honestly truly believe they should be in jail. And again, I'm not trying to judge anybody that watches it. You know, do your thing. If I'm not yucking your yum, but this is not for me. As an ecchi specialist, I cannot do lolly ecchi. And then the way this is carried out is too much. It's about, they look like middle school girls, and they look like in one middle school girls, they have magical girls in this world already established. And there's one girl who looks up to these three magical girls, is excited to see them do their thing. But she's greeted by a mascot who says, hey, you want to become a magical girl? She's like, hell yeah. She gushes over these magic. She loves them. And the mascot ended up being the negative of the magical girls, which makes her now the villain to the magical girls. So she gets into this fucking skimpy outfit that is not okay for a little girl to wear. And she becomes basically a succubus. And essentially, she doesn't want to be, like, she's forced into this for one. And she's forced into these very revealing clothes that she's clearly uncomfortable in. Like, she doesn't fucking like it. And it's this fucking little mascot thing taking pictures about and of her in this outfit, threatening to tweet it out and saying, hey, you got to fight the magical girls now, or I'll tweet this out to your entire family. And she's like, fuck, I don't want to do this. But she does. And when she does it in a way where it's, she takes this whipping thing and she whips like a plant, and the plant grabs the magical girls and starts to fucking fondle them. And these are little lolly girls. Starts to fucking fondle them. And if you went to this, I swear to God, I'm calling the FBI. And she's like, she's learning that she's becoming a sadist to this shit. And she thinks it's a dream the whole time. And she's enjoying herself at first. And she wakes up like, okay, that was just a dream. Thank God I don't have to deal with that, because I love the magical girls and I don't want to hurt them. And then she gets the call from the little mascot thing saying, hey, you got to do this again. And he threatens her with another picture that he's going to send to her family and tweet all over the world. And it's awful. It's a terrible, terrible show. Nothing is funny about it. Nothing is interesting about it. I don't like lolly ecchi again. Like I said, it's gross. It's not a good show. It's not a good show.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie to you, I'm uncomfortable.
Yeah, it definitely made me uncomfortable. I finished it and then I instantly dropped it. It has a 71 on Annie List right now. Like, what the who is liking this shit? I'm liking it, bro. Let me stop, because again, I'm not here to yuck nobody's yum, but that shit is not good. It's not. It's the fact that he threatens her with tweeting out a picture of her in a skimpy outfit to her friends and family is crazy.
Even if they were grown, even if they were grown, they have to be wild.
Exactly. None of that shit is okay to me. I don't, and like, you know, people saying you can't think too much about it, but that's how I feel about like normal edgy shit. I don't think too much about normal edgy, you know.
At least here's my thing. At least if these were adult characters,
right?
Like adult people need love too, regardless, right? Whether they look like a child or not. Like adult people deserve love. That's right. Different. So I just know like it ain't necessarily my thing, but if you like adult people who just happen to whatever, they're adults. And children, that's harder to justify. I can't justify that.
Yeah, and it's like the fact that she's so not with it, like she's being forced into it, is I think the worst part about the entire thing. Like it's so not cool, man.
You might have to edit this out, but I'm gonna have to yuck somebody yum on that one.
I'm gonna keep it in
because that's not. I can't do that. Not with the kid.
No, man, it's not okay.
If she was 300 years old or something like that and look like that, that's different.
It's not even that. That's the crazy part. It's not even that. Moving on to some quality edgy.
Quality.
Okay, I'm not gonna say quality because the animation is this is the only show where the animation kind of look roughed, and that's Chain Soldiers. But the story, but the story of Chain Soldier is way more intriguing than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be mindless edginess, but it's much more interesting than I thought it was going to be. And where it's going, I'm with it. Even though it don't look as good as, I think this is the only show that don't look good animation wise. Everything else about it is pretty sweet. Story wise, character wise so far.
I'm surprised you like this one.
Really?
Yeah, bro. I'm surprised. I'm not saying that as a bad thing because I enjoyed it. I thought it was cool. I was like, all right, it ain't the best animation, but I didn't think Ragnar Crimson had amazing animation in his first episode, and I thought I was like, okay, that's cool. I was like, I can get with this. I think for a couple episodes, see what it's actually going to be about.
I'm already invested.
That's what I'm saying. I didn't think he was going to be like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out this power system.
Exactly. Like I'm liking the fact that these, like, again, everything's already established. It's not too much over explaining. Like, I love that. And the way it kind of plays out is kind of cool, man. It's kind of neat. It's probably going to devolve into some bullshit. I'm not going to hold you. This is another approved quality mid, I think. Maybe even a little less than quality. But I'm enjoying it. This is a show I'm enjoying it. Do I recommend it to everybody? No. Absolutely not. I wouldn't. But for me, it might be something I turn on and be like, okay, that's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. Seems like the story could be cool.
Yeah, I definitely don't. I thought it was cool enough to watch. I plan on continue watching it.
Dang. Moving on to Love Don't Cost a Thing 2. I mean, bottom tier character Tomazaki, season 2 or second stage. I wish I wasn't so in love with this show. The reason why I say that is because I would love to wait for this to be dubbed and done. Because guess who Tomazaki is?
Who that?
Adam Gibbs. Adam Gibbs is the main character of our guy and My Teen Romantic Comedy Snafu. And
good voice actor.
He's a great voice actor. He's perfect for this role. And I would love to watch it fucking done season 2, but I can't. I gotta bring this weekly somehow. The sub is fire too, so I'm not complaining, but what that led me to do though is that led me to make an executive decision. I love bottom tier character Tomazaki second stage. I'm gonna continue to watch it, but what I am gonna do, and I don't regret this, because what I learned watching Classroom of the Elite season 3 episode 1, good episode. I prefer the show dubbed. And the reason why is because there's so much fucking dialogue that you can even, I'm a pretty decent reader. I think I read subtitles very well. I can keep up very well. Even watching the show it was tough. It was tough because I'm like, what happened? What are y'all doing? So I think I'm making an executive decision for Classroom of the Elite season 3. I'm waiting for the episodes to come out dubbed. I'm probably going to be about 3 weeks behind, I think, is how it goes. So I watched the first episode, good first episode. It took me a little bit to watch it because I'm ADHD maybe. I don't fucking know. But I think I'm going to wait until it's dubbed for the most part. I'm going to be behind, but I'm going to watch it dubbed. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you ain't going to be that far behind.
Yeah. What you got?
Ishura.
Okay, show I didn't watch. Talk to me.
All right. So, fantasy anime. Technically, this is an isekai, but if we're from the perspective of people who live in this world, it's just a fantasy, right? so basically, we're following. We're following the main character, who they appear to be like just out of a war. They just finished killing not them specifically, but the demon king is dead. Mm-hmm. Demon Lord is dead. So they're in a state of peace where they're all training and whatnot to just be prepared for future wars and battles. And they're talking about these visitors. They're from another world. The visitors can't use their magic. The magic system, I think, is very interesting because they have spoken magic, force arts, or spoken arts, force arts, and different just magic tiers and levels. So it seems like they have a pretty evolved skill system here. Mm-hmm. But what made it really interesting is it starts off in this sense of peace where like the Demon King is dead, but we're still in school learning how to fight and do all these different things. And it turns out that that don't matter because everybody can get wiped out. And their town gets overrun by machines that essentially destroys everything in the town. Killing her best friend that I thought was going to be MC. In the
shit.
It's crazy. But I'm sorry, it's the first episode, spoiler alert. But yeah, everyone dies. And then a visitor shows up.
You know what I just got? Vibes I got.
What's that?
Let's guess.
Kill I Kill? Mm-hmm. It's not that.
Okay.
I think it hopefully it's not that for the first episode. You know what I mean? Because I think everyone dies just for the first episode.
Okay.
But it was honestly, it was a bit surprising. Just it's more about watching it because it's actually extremely gruesome. I almost thought it was going to be rated R. But I think that the system here is going to be really interesting in terms of how things are work out. But it also looked really good, bro. It just looked really good. Even in they are kind of like mechish, but they give you the near automata like mecha. So it's not like they're in their suits, but it's just the machines that walk around and do the fighting more or less.
Okay.
And then the progression to understanding how to even fight them is actually really cool too.
Oh. All right, I'll check that out. Shit. I mean, you got anything else? Because that's all from my list.
Blue Exorcist was cool.
Blue Exorcist. So what is it exactly? Is it second season? What is it, a new reboot?
This is a third season technically. The second season came out, I think, like right around when we started recording this podcast, or like right after. I'm not sure if I talked about Blue Exorcist season 2, but either way, it's a follow up to the Kyoto Wars that they had, where they had to fight the uncrowned prince or whatever it was, but basically the impure prince. Mm-hmm. So basically the impure prince came back and they had to get rid of him, but now we're looking at like the impure princess is coming back, and essentially it's them. It's our main characters being put in a position to fully utilize their powers and understand their place in the world as half demon, half exorcist.
I'm gonna keep it real with you. I never even watched Blue Exorcist at all.
I knew you wouldn't. It's very shonen-y. Yeah. It's very, very shonen.
Yeah, it looks like it. It looks very BC. If you like, to me, it's a more power of friendship version of Noragami, but Noragami just does everything better. If you like Noragami, I think Noragami did everything better. Characters, everything. When they had their full, like, I have to actually show you who I truly am kind of mode. Noragami just did everything better. But Blue Exorcist is still fun in a sense. Like, the characters are young, fun kind of characters. It's a very shonen anime. I'll probably never watch it, but I'm glad one of us is.
Yeah, I don't think it's a Polow ass anime.
I agree.
Hold up. What else did I watch here? I did not watch Mashroll yet, even though I'm going to.
I might turn that on season 1.
7th Timeloop. The villainess enjoys a carefree life married to her worst enemy.
Yeah.
I don't think this is gonna be good. I'm gonna give it the 3 episodes. And the only reason I say I don't think it's gonna be good isn't because of it's because I don't know where the direction is gonna be. Like I have no idea after this first episode what the direction is gonna be. Basically, what happens is the main character is the villainess in this like basically like world. Every time she dies. Every time she's been in this world, she has died in some way, and she's tried to like change how she died or change the outcome every single time. Mm-hmm. But regardless, she ends up being a villainess, and she gets killed. The 7th time, she's like, you know what? I know how it's gonna turn out, and the prince tries to break off their engagement because the prince is her husband. And the prince is trying to break off their engagement. And she's like, okay, cool. And just turns around and leaves. She don't even argue with him. Just let it go. I'm not doing this. Mostly because it bites her in the ass every time she argues with him and gets ejected from the kingdom. So now she's just like, forget all that. I'm not even going to waste my time doing it. I already know what's going to happen. So just leave. Mm-hmm. So I'm interested, but it's like, I don't know where it's going to go. And I don't know how far this can go is the thing. It's not about like where I don't know it. I know where it can go. I just don't know how far this can be stretched and still be entertaining. I think
I see.
Three episodes is where I think the 4th episode I'm gonna watch and be like, okay, yep, that's about what I thought. You didn't have enough momentum there. But I hope I'm wrong.
I'm gonna be honest with you. All in all, that's it, right?
Yep.
All in all, this season is fire.
Yeah,
this season is fire. Just to put it in perspective, okay. Season 2 of Bottom Tier is great. Classroom of the Elite season 3 started off great. So that's 2 shows. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 shows this season. And for me personally, all of them are absolute fire. For you, it sounds like the villainous one isn't. I mean, obviously the one I dropped isn't in my list, so we're not going to ever talk about that. But it was one show I dropped already from episode 1. Mm-hmm. But every episode I watched, let me clear that up, was intriguing enough for me to say, let's go. If you remove the other seasons, 1, 2, 3, there are 3 shows that are not in this list that are season 2s. Mind you, we still have 4 shows to drop. By the time you're hearing this, or they drop this week, this podcast episode's week, so there's 4 more shows to add to that list. Whoever said winter ain't hitting
must be tripping,
because it is so far. It is very much hidden. I cannot wait to see where these other 4 leads, because the other 4 we have is The Witch and the Beast. I'm obviously watch that. My Sleeper, which is Hokkaido Gals, are super adorable. The Foolish Angel Dances with the Devil. And then Tsukimichi Moonlit Fantasy Season 2. These are the 4 shows that are coming. It's probably going to be fire. Oh, and that Mecha one, I think Tell's going to watch, right? Metallic Rogue.
Yeah, that's
Is that out?
No, but I think that's just a continuation, like another version. Evangelion.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh shit, I might watch that too then. Hold on.
It's like an Evangelion spinoff.
Do I care to watch it? Probably, maybe. We'll see. But so far, winter's looking almost just as stacked as last season, to be fair. When you look back at last season had a bunch of like kind of flops, to be honest.
It's crazy. And
you had a bunch of mainstays that kind of like carried it, which is again Frieren.
Also crazy.
Apothecary, Diaries, shit like that. Ragnar Crimson still going. Shangri-La still going. But mostly, I think Winter might be just as powerful. Obviously, we don't have a Frieren quality show yet. So if you take out Frieren and Apothecary Diaries, it might be just as good.
But the thing is, though, is that if everything maintains this quality, technically the only thing that makes the previous season better is the fact that they got Apothecary Diaries and Frieren, because those are 2 shows that arguably you could put them in any year, and it's like, damn, that's hard to mess with.
Yeah, I agree.
But if we took those specific ones out of that season and put them anywhere else, you'd be like, yeah, Fall was not competing with with winter. Like this is looking like a stacked winter season.
Stacked winter season, bro. I must say though, like this might be just a Polow and Tell last winter, to be honest. A lot of this shit is fantasy stuff. A lot of this shit is isekais, even some slice of life stuff in here that's fire. Like this is kind of like our shit. You know what I mean? Like,
and I can tell you why.
Why?
They have to invest in world building for fantasy.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So maybe we're a little biased, i.e., you know, the conversation earlier, but
you wouldn't be here if you weren't.
I'm loving it so far, bro. I'm loving it so far. All right. Let's take this quick break. We're going to obviously spoil Frieren, and let's do, Apothecary Diaries?
Let's do it.
We're going to spoil those two, and then end the show from there. Hope you enjoyed this episode back, 235. We love y'all. We'll be right back after these.
Shawty, don't test my love when I notice you ain't got me, no. Fucking with me all day and then when the night's gon' call, don't feel the same. Come on, phone now, babe, wanna see me, come and set it on. You ain't gonna know my way, no, love me, baby. Ooh. Say, I ain't wanna waste your time, baby, not me. I ain't really wanna fuck around, baby, not me. With a lifestyle like this, it ain't hard to feel it. Ooh, baby, steady cautious, but you know that I want you. Baby, steady cautious. Ooh, baby, steady cautious, but you know that I want you. Shawty, don't test my love when I notice you ain't got me, no. Fucking with me all day and then when the night's gon' call, don't feel the same. Come on, phone now, babe, wanna see me, come and set it on. You ain't gonna know my way, no, love me, baby. Baby, no, my big one, no, got enough time, I want it, baby, no, my big one, no, got enough time, I want it, baby, no, my big one, got enough time, I want it, baby, no, my big one,
And welcome Black Montel's chair to 235 and mic check waifu. Camera's out of focus. Oh, it's because my glasses, whatever. Welcome to Spoiler Talk of 235. I'm going to spoil episode what of Frieren and episode what of who? Of Apothecary Diaries?
Episode 17 of Frieren.
Oh my God, episode 17?
Yeah, bro.
Oh, it was good. We still got 11 more episodes.
It's beautiful.
I love it, man. I fucking love it.
They feeding us.
They definitely feeding us good. Episode 17 of Frieren was
a lot.
Yeah, it was kind of bittersweet. You know, because our cleric god gone.
But it makes sense. You know what I mean?
Totally. I didn't want him to go though.
If that's true. That's true. If we keep with the idea of the passage of time with this show, right? Not to mention that they gave us a new intro after taking their little break. You keep with the idea of passage of time, like they spent some time together.
A lot of time.
And I mean, even though he was with us for 3 episodes, the time that he was there was meaningful. Everything that was surrounding him was very developmental for everybody.
You know what's crazy?
What's that?
when I think of them adding new people, or when she added them to it, I'm like, I don't want anybody to join it. I said it about Stark too. I thought Stark joining Fern and Frieren was going to suck. Wrong. I thought this cleric was going to come through and it was going to be a weird, because he didn't seem like he would have fit with them. Wrong. I need to stop doubting the show for one. And, and I need to just come to the understanding that they know what they're doing when it comes to writing these fucking characters, bro. It's beautiful.
And you're not wrong though in your thinking though, right? Because it's like, how many times do you do this and make it go well? Right. Like, how can you do this with so many variations on characters, and the characters are important and they matter in these, like, because we basically at this moment we're getting like 2 half stories, and this is kind of what 86 did to us.
Yep.
We get a story, halfway through we get another story, and it's so
which feels like 2 episodes.
It's crazy that the episodes are not long. They don't feel long, but they kind of feel like we're getting a lot. Like, there's so much to digest in this amount of time. It's crazy.
Couldn't agree more, bro. You are spitting.
But we get this moment where they're mediating the relationship between Stark and Frieren. Yeah. And it's like, this has kind of been happening for a while since the cleric has been here. He's been mediating these relationships for them, or this relationship for them for a decent amount of time.
Because Frieren can't.
Yeah, his humanly insight, because he is a human. Mm-hmm. He does have a finite life, but he also understands, the dynamic of a man. Where we see that Frieren understands a little bit of the womanly side of things, but not very outspoken about it. But we get this mediation, and I love when the priest and Frieren talk, where they just talk by themselves.
Yes.
It's so wholesome, but it's like it's that she treats him like he's on her level.
Right.
She does not treat him like she's like, yeah, you are a child to me, 100%. But it's like she doesn't treat him on the power scale like he's significantly weaker than her, or like he lacks some kind of wisdom.
Right.
And it's almost like her respect for time has changed, especially for when it comes to in regard of the human.
Because they take it to the flashbacks, beautifully interwoven as they always do. When we get to the second half of this episode, which was when Fern got sick, and she was holding, and Frieren was holding Fern's hand, like, just sit there holding her hand, and Fern got embarrassed because she's like, I'm not a child anymore in front of, because she did it in front of Stark. And it takes us back to that flashback where the same thing happens with Himmel, and Himmel does the same thing to her. And it's her taking the lessons that she learned from, again, these group of friends that she spent 10 years with, a measly 10 years with, that she takes these lessons to heart, because now she realized the fact that measly 10 years turned into 50 because she decided to go exploring, not understanding the concept of time for her compared to humans. And now when she get back to them, they're all basically dying because they're from old age. And she's like, I missed so many opportunities because I didn't live in the moment, that now she's living in the moment via these experiences she's had with her friends. And it's a beautiful concept of a story that is effortlessly told with characters that is so well liked and loved and well written, in a world that's just as established and well written and loved. It's incredible.
And hear me out. It's not that I disagree with you when you say effortless, but I kind of hate it, right?
Yeah.
Because there's clearly so much effort that went into this, but it feels effortless, bro.
Yes.
Because there's no way someone's writing this story and it's like they didn't sit here and like really, really think about this. Like, and if they didn't, like, it feels just like magnificent. It's crazy.
It's unbelievable.
The second part of it was beautiful with that revelation. Like I said, with Frieren does have a little bit of the womanly instinct on like what she shows. It's just not very like outwardly known to everyone else. And then even how she cares for them is crazy, because we're not spending so much time in the action on this anime. But when we get the action, it's great. But there's so much action in what just happens amongst them. It's crazy.
Right. It's a perfect way of telling a story. It's absolutely perfect. I think it's going to be hard to be for this to end, because what I got a feeling is that it's going to end at 28, and that's going to be the end, which is fine. But this is one of those shows again where you kind of want it forever.
But do we even deserve that, bro?
We don't need it. It don't need to go on forever, but it just feels good to talk about and to look at visually and to just, I don't know, just to fucking have Frieren be a part of my week is fucking phenomenal, man. It feels good.
It's crazy. It's just as good as like having Apothecary Diaries in your week.
What a tellway. Apothecary Diaries is another show that's been absolutely fantastic. What do you think about her going back in the job she thinks she's doing was with the job she thought she had, but she goes back and realizes that she can't, and now she got to be a courtesan?
Well, that's what he wanted her to be, a court girl.
Yeah, a court girl. That's what it was.
But she failed that test. But like
now she's just becoming a secretary, right?
It's personal servant secretary. But hear me out. This show has so much going on, bro.
It does.
How she talks about, well, I don't really want to leave my dad, but you know, I am going to be doing more like what I truly love, and she's fawning over the caterpillar fungus. But it's like how the girls even are like, the other courtesans are like dressing her up and making her ready, and how our character guy is like jealous, like the jealousy. It's just like all of it is so much like emotion that you don't even have to have so many words. You're just watching it.
Yeah,
and that's always an important part of it too, because we are watching anime. To watch it and get the picture without too many words. I'm expecting words.
What a way of putting it.
I'm expecting words sometimes, but it just happens, and it's like, I love this fucking show, bro.
You don't need them. You don't. This is one of the only shows that have a 5-star rating on Crunchyroll. It's deservingly so, because it's I don't. It's hard to talk about because there's not much to it. The word effortless comes up again with this show because it effortlessly goes into story beats that are like flawless. What is the situation now that she's back at the palace, but she's the personal servant of Master Gushing? Like, where does it go?
Well, so this is where we find out more of what he does, right?
Right.
What his actual job is.
That's true too.
And then we also see that he has a little bit of a target on his back as well. And that's going to be, I guess, where she kind of comes into play, figuring out like, because it seems like someone's trying to figure out what's his driving force, what's his motivation, and why is he worried about this courtesan girl from the middle of nowhere when he is who he is. It seems like there's going to be a lot of a behind the scenes moving around that we're gonna see brought to the forefront.
And who is that fucking guy?
Well, he wasn't the emperor, but he might be somewhere up there with him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because he's kind of snaking around. I don't like the way he's moving.
And they keep bringing up military, so it could be a general.
That could be it. Oh my God, this might be something. Kind of like it might get rough for her with him watching, because he's so intrigued by her and the fact that Gushing has this fucking I don't know what, this affinity for this girl, which he's never had before for anybody else. He just kind of uses his charm to kind of like get through these girls, but for her it's like it's different. He's like grabbing hold of it, you know, and it seems to be causing some highs, right? Like it's
and hear me out. She even recognizes his charm, which is also hilarious. Right. Yeah. She's like, if this is anybody else, and the girls would have fainted,
men and women,
men would have pounced on them. It's like, yo,
that's hilarious.
It's like, yo, this show is hilarious, but it's so serious. And I feel like what I loved about this episode was that they set us up, but they also like they only made the serious notes like more background moments.
Yeah.
You know, even feel with like the other courtesan girl who was kind of off to the side, the one who's by herself, who said, this is, not to go past this line or whatever. What's up with her? Like, there's so many questions that they're trying to raise up, and it's like, oh, this is going to be good. Because if this had come out in any other year other than next to Frieren.
Anime of the year, man. Anime of the year.
These two anime are amazing, but
it splits. It literally split down. Like it's a whole nother. She's in a whole nother section of the palace. She's doing a whole nother job, dealing with a whole nother set of people. So this is basically season 2 of Apothecary Diaries in a different situation.
Yeah.
So where we're going, who knows, man? Because before it was all about her being a taste tester for her, or getting captured, going to the palace, becoming a taste tester, and then helping solving these medical mysteries that kind of cropped up. Now it seems to be more directly involved with her.
Right.
She's getting the attention she never wanted. It's like there's so many different avenues of this show that is going to go so many different places.
And I think they cleverly keep stashing these words in, right? Because they kept talking court grounds. You're going to work the court grounds. You're going to work the court grounds. They said it several times. Keep bringing up the military. Don't go near the military. Don't do this about the military.
Yep.
They do a good job of like leaving those hints where like, yeah, even if that doesn't happen, it's like a worry now. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Even if it doesn't come to fruition, it's something that we know we're probably going to be looking for in terms of how she addresses the court grounds themselves.
Where she goes. Yeah.
Right.
And who she talks to. What she talks to him about and how she fucking uses her words, because in this episode, she misspoke, got her ass slapped. Even though she probably could have handled that. Like, she probably could have scared these poor women to death like she's done everybody else. And it probably will get to that. Which, again, I love when they do that. When she kind of like shows her shit. It's a great show, man. It's a great show, but you know what else?
Stars.
You know what else, Till?
What's that, bro?
This has been a great show. I'm at Polow Barfly on all social media.
I'm at King Telliano on all social media.
You can follow our social medias at Mike Check Waifu on X and at Mike Check Waifu on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads. And as always, Mike Check.
That's a smooth new year, bro.
You're now tuned into Mike Check Waifu. Is that you? Is that you? Is that you? Is that you?